best feminist who said that.
You can. You know what? Everybody's been amazing, though.
No, but I'm the best. So.
We saved the best for last. I totally. Do you guys agree?
Now you really put me on the spot. We have to that now. Be honest.
I have a question for you. What do you think about Cass really resonates? I mean, so much with everyone in here. I mean, even as a casual viewer being, the character was so, like, genuine in a weird sort of way and relatable. How did you create that, and what do you think it is specifically about the character that resonates with everyone?
I think that the main thing is just this. I mean, obviously, in this community, being socially awkward is like what we all are. And so Castiel, of course, is elevated to icon status in that community.
You know what's so funny? I was rewatching a lot of the episodes.
What I like doing is coming out on stage and insulting the audience. First thing out of the gate. Mark does that too? God damn it, it's not even original what I'm doing.
It's still acceptable though. You guys clearly got the memo about lining up good. You're lining up, we'll get through as many as we can.
Mark is so sweet and sentimental, isn't he? Oh no, opposite of that. You were saying?
I was rewatching some of the episodes, obviously, and your first episode, it really struck me as really interesting because now, she liked it too, I guess. Nowadays, everything's CGI, but it really looked like those were those real sparks flying at your head.
They were real sparks.
I mean, you hit this like perfect moment of like coming in, being powerful, being strong, but yet I couldn't help think like, wow, they're like practically like lighting up his head. What was it like filming that scene?
It was trial by fire, I would say.
Yeah.
Quite literally. That first scene was my real first introduction to the supernatural set. I hadn't really spoken to anyone yet. I hadn't gotten to know anyone yet. And in the first scene, I was supposed to be, very powerful and inured to the pain of sparks and gunshots and stab wounds. And as I was walking in, this epic, scene, they misted my head with water because they're like, just in case. The sparks they're not going to be hot, but just in case, so your hair doesn't catch on fire. And I was like, if they're not hot, then why might it catch on fire? And sure enough, so I'm walking through. I don't know if you know what squid. Do you know what squids are?
Yes.
So do you? Oh, my poor ignorant friends. So squids are when you see in a movie like when someone gets shot, you can see like an explosion and some blood comes out, right? Clothes get ripped. The way they do that is they put this pad on under your clothing that has like little electric charges going to little pouches of actual gunpowder and sometimes blood. So when they press the button with a remote control, it explodes. It actually explodes, and it's like a half charge. It's about a half of the gunpowder that's in a bullet. So it's a real loud explosion that rips apart your clothes and sometimes shoots out a little blood. And needless to say, it is super startling. Like when that goes off, it's a gunshot happening on your body. And to be like, just keep walking while that's happening takes all the focus and concentration you can possibly muster. So, we did the first take, squibs go off, sparks come down, burning the shit out of my head, very hot. Bang, bang, bang. I'm like, completely startled and terrified by what was happening. And then and the director's like, Tim Manners was directing. That was the last episode he directed before he passed away. And he said, okay, reset. And you could just hear the dripping disappointment in his voice. He's like, why did we hire this guy. Because resetting with squibs and all of these like, you know, special effects on the lights is a huge deal. It takes literally an hour and 15 minutes just to reset it, just to try it again. So now I have all this pressure for the second take. I got to not be startled. And so I was biting my cheek. I remember I was biting my cheek as hard as I could without drawing blood, just to like distract myself from it. And sure enough, the sparks come down, the squibs are going off, and I'm like, I'm not responding. It's just taking all my concentration. The sparks are coming down, and this time they forgot to wet my hair, and the sparks are coming down, and I hear, this is not a hyperbole, I hear it sizzling on my scalp. It's like, and it's burning through my scalp. And I'm like, I'm going to get this straight. That was my first 2 hours on set of Supernatural. I was like, this is actually hell.
That's amazing. Well, you guys rewatch that scene after hearing the story, and I promise you won't be disappointed.
But there was another take. I didn't flinch.
I
because
flinched when they
getting
stuck
fired.
the knife in there. I'm like, "Arr." Yes, hi. We'll start over here. Hi, how are you?
Hi. I'm just gonna ask, what is your favorite candy?
What is your favorite candy?
Candy or candle?
Candy.
Why are you asking me this question?
Because I don't know what the other question.
Do you have a favorite candy?
Yeah.
You do? Okay, so maybe that's why you're asking. You think about candy a lot. What's your favorite candy?
Honestly, I'd have to go with the first one.
The classic one.
Hershey bar?
Yeah.
Oh. I didn't know anyone's favorite thing was a Hershey bar. I've never once in my life seen a Hershey bar at a checkout and been like, God, I really want that.
So are you more
You
like
know what I
a...
can go for right now? A Hershey bar. Said no one I've ever heard of. I sound like Mark? So, Almond Joy, I would say, is the thing that my kids pick out of their candy on Halloween to give to me. So I guess I like that. I like Raisinets. I used to go to the movies. My God.
That's very controversial.
This whole section just looked at me like I said I was a white supremacist. Okay, so Raisinets are not popular.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi. Sorry. So I love how they started playing up your like Russian background towards the very end, and when the shaman said, you know, I like this side of you. It's very Russian, just you know.
Oh, you mean because we had the Russian?
Because you're Russian.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not Russian.
That's what I was wondering. Is,
Yeah, I'm not.
and even do you eat Russian foods? Do
No.
you follow any Russian superstitions?
My mother
Anything?
was a hippie. So that's why I have the name Misha. And the name Krushnik, which is my legal birth-given last name, we don't even know where it comes from. It's like 6 generations back. I'm not very Russian. I think I'm 11% Ashkenazi Jew based on 23andMe, so there's that. Probably some of that is Russian.
Yeah.
But it's not my main thing. I'm sorry to disappoint. Are you Russian?
Yeah, I am, of course. That's why I'm.
That's why you're asking.
Yeah, that's why I wrote it.
Just like this candy person. People are just asking questions about their own interests. How Russian are you?
I was born in what was the USSR. And
Really?
moved here when I was 4, so technically I don't have a country anymore. But I was born in the Ukraine, so because there's no USSR. When I was born, it was the USSR.
I see. You don't have a homeland anymore. Okay, I don't know if I agree with that, but are your parents still alive?
Yeah, yeah,
And do you speak Russian?
yeah, yeah.
Not great.
It's they kind of, the Russians laugh at me a little bit sometimes, make fun of my grammar, but yeah, I can get by. So.
How do you say supernatural in Russian? It's kind of long-winded.
Oh, see, that one I don't know.
How do you say I don't really speak Russian?
Я не так хорошо говорю по-русски.
Я неправильно говорю по-русски.
Well, thank you.
Спасибо большое, пока.
Oh, here, she just gave it to me. Svertiestepenoye.
Yeah, really believable pronunciation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. First, I just wanted to say that I love you and all the acts you do. I've watched some of them, and I also want to.
And how do you speak to all of them? Hi. You asked a question yesterday, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yes. I remember.
I was also wondering what your favorite movie was.
My favorite movie?
Yes.
No.
Either one that you started.
Probably that I started. There are a lot of them.
It's like,
Oh, sorry.
Hey, Ken. I am in Pittsburgh. I'm on stage right now. Really? Yeah. They can hear you. Should we have a very personal, private conversation? Are you?
Misha, wait. First thing is you have to tell everyone that I used to live in Pittsburgh and I love Pittsburgh.
He's lying, guys. He didn't.
I went to Carnegie Mellon, I lived in Squirrel Hill.
What do you miss about Pittsburgh, Ken?
Well, I miss the Steelers, obviously. And I miss the food on the south side.
Where should I eat tonight?
Oh my God, I haven't lived there in 20 years. I couldn't tell you that.
Okay.
Ask the crowd, they'll know.
Where should I eat tonight? They are not coordinating well together. They're just jumbled mess of voices. Hey, I'll call you back a little later, okay?
All right, that seems like a good plan. Bye, everybody.
Bonus. Okay. Did you finish your question?
No.
Sorry.
Hi. Do you want to finish it?
yeah. What's your favorite movie?
Oh, yeah. You did finish the question. Right. I don't know. There's so many movies, as you know, and Stonehenge Apocalypse is not good. I really love The Matrix. I have made my kids watch it with me a couple of times. It's a fantastic Buddhist parable. The subsequent, just the first movie, the other ones should be burned. And then, I don't know, there are a lot of weird movies that I think have strange sentimental attachment for me. I love Down by Law, Jim Jarmusch's movie with Roberto Benigni. I love Tampopo, which is like this weird, sexy food Japanese language movie that I saw when I was too young to watch it. That's all I have for you.
Sorry. Thank you, Tim.
What's your favorite movie?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a hard question. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Usually you have to do like top 5.
Give me any movie that you like. Do you hate movies?
No, I normally watch more TV shows than movies.
Okay. Wow. Way to dodge the question. What TV shows do you like?
Supernatural.
No shit.
Good answer. Hi.
Hi, my name is Jen from Cleveland, and I just wanted to say that I've been listening to Bridgewater and I'm loving it so far, so thank you for doing that.
Thank you. I have to say, I had so much fun doing that. It was a strange experience. So Bridgewater is this podcast that is weirdly doing remarkably well online. It's stayed at #1 for now 6 weeks in fiction podcasts, which is, there's a lot of competition out there. And I recorded much of it in Richard Spate's closet.
It's a great cast.
Yes, and Richard has been trying to get me to come out of the closet for a long time. And it's a great cast, but it was also kind of interesting because on Supernatural, we would record an episode in 8 days of filming. And for Bridgewater, we would do an episode in 6 hours.
Wow.
And so you were just pouring through the material. There was no waiting for lighting setups, there was no waiting for camera setups, there was no waiting for squibs to be reset. And it was really kind of remarkably fun to get into in that way. So I really enjoyed it, much more than I thought I hope I get to do more.
Me too. My question for you is, with your book of poems coming out, will you be doing an audiobook where you're the voice? Please? This is really a request.
I was going to do that, but then I found out you can just do voice to, or text to voice. So the whole thing is it'll just be Siri reading my poems, which I think will be much better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For those of you who have no idea what she's talking about, I have a book of poetry coming out. It's called Some Things I Still Can't Tell You. Some Things I Still Can't Tell You. If you could just do me a favor and just right now, just go pre-order it online.
Already done.
Be a big help. If we get into like bestseller lists in the first couple of weeks that the book is on stands, then more bookstores will pick it up and more people will see it. So seriously, just pre-order it. Please.
That actually is how you get a book on the bestseller list. Yeah.
Please. I don't want to seem desperate. Pretty please.
Let me ask you
Some
this.
things I still can't tell you. Please order it. Don't make me beg. But I'm begging you, please.
Misha, let me ask you this. You've published individual poems, but what made you want to do a collection?
I have done this thing for many years, which is in January of each year, I write down my goals for the coming year. I've been doing this for about 20 years. And compiling my poems, putting them together, and publishing them as a book has been on my list for the coming year for about 10 years. And I'm always like at the end of the year, like, fuck, I didn't get the thing. But I have this, I've been writing poems for a long time, and it's weird. I don't know why I want to do it. Because it's not like I feel like the world is going to be a better place with my poems in it. It's just something that I feel like I put a lot of work into. and a lot of love into, and I just want them out there in a book, in the world, and there's no real reason for it. It's not like no one gets rich off of poetry except for very wealthy poets, but
It's a passion project.
yeah, no, in a weird way, I think it's sort of a passion project, but it's also just in a weird way, I think, me just wanting to sort of catalog a chapter of my life, and somehow it feels important to me that it be in book form, but I don't have a real explanation for it. I was at a dinner party maybe 15 years ago, and I had just gotten a couple of poems published for the first time, and it felt very exciting to me. And I was sitting at this dinner party with this guy that was a professor of Russian literature, and he said, why would anyone, we had just met at this party, and he said, why would anyone want to read your poems? And I was like, oh my God, you heartless, first of all, I can't believe that you are teaching students, because that's not a good attitude. And second of all, I don't know why anyone would want to read them. And it gave me, that one comment from a stranger made me kind of self-conscious about the enterprise for a long time. I was like, why am I trying to, I'm not a poet, why am I trying to put these out there? But ultimately, I just decided I didn't want to do it, and I don't care. And if no one wants to read them, that's okay, but please, all of you read them. Now, also, I would like to point out that there is now a poem in the book about that motherfucker.
I love that. I love that. Anyway, thank you wherever you went. We'll come over here now. Hi.
I got a stupid question, even though you
Great.
just...
Finally.
Okay.
Not all these highfalutin questions about movies and candies. What's your stupid question?
In the episode where Dean was mad at Cass and you were in the supermarket, right? Because the cashier for pie, did he ever get Dean his pie? And what type? Thank carefully.
Yes.
Type?
Apple.
And that answers your question.
Should have won the cherry.
Thank you. Hi.
Hello. I had no idea what she was talking about. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. I remember I have literally zero idea what you were talking about just now. I do know that Dean likes pie in the show. That's all. But we were shooting an episode in the convenience store, and when we go on location all the time. I have to use the past tense. We went on location. We went on location all the time, and we would go into a convenience store somewhere in the greater Vancouver area, and then the art department would come in and dress the set in there. So it would be a convenience store, and we would be using some of the things that were naturally in the convenience store, but they'd change the signs and the neon, and maybe fill out the shelves with bags of chips that didn't say Lay's on them, or whatever. Like they put in their own set back in there. And they put out, Dean was coming into, maybe I was going into the convenience store to shop for something for Dean, I really can't remember, but anyway, they had busty Asian beauties on the magazine stand, and I was like, oh, this is very clever. It's like, there wasn't a thing in this episode where I was supposed, I wasn't buying a copy for Dean, but it was on the shelf, and I picked it up, and opened it, and of course, busty Asian beauties, I don't know if you know this, but if you look online, it's very difficult to find. It's not a real thing, right? It's just in Supernatural. So I opened it up expecting that it was like, Entertainment Weekly, that they had put this Busty Asian Beauties cover on. I opened it up, and it was Hustler magazine. That they had put the Busty Asian Beauty. I was like, oh my God! Somebody in the art department had a good sense of humor, and we're like, oh, if you're picking this up, we're going to deliver.
So my
Okay.
question for you
Check that off the list. Yes.
is, what is one TV show that was canceled or ended before you would have liked for it to end?
Arrested Development. I loved that show. I thought it was really funny, and then ultimately Netflix rebooted it, but it wasn't funny. In the reboot 10 years later, it was not good. My 10-year-old has watched all of Arrested Development back and forth, like many times. He loves it, which I think is an indication that he has good taste. What other shows? Oh, I really loved. No, that's not true. I loved Heroes, the show Heroes, for the first season. So I wish they had done more of the first season. There was a show called Invasion that I really liked, and I was like, where'd that go? What happened? And I was really glued to the screen for the entire Trump presidency, but I was glad that was canceled.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, Misha. My name is Megan. I wanted to ask you a supernatural question.
Okay.
So I wanted to get a sense of what it was like for you to film some of the more meta or like fourth wall breaking episodes, and especially the French Mistake. So specifically, what was your reaction when you first got that script, and how did you end up making the decision to actually tweet along when the episode aired?
I did that. God, that's clever. I got the script, and we all had to. There was a whole conversation leading up to that episode. Like, we all had to have our lawyers confer with Warner Brothers and release them to actually use our real names. And it was this whole like, would you be willing to sort of satirize yourselves? And if so, can you get? Anyway, it was a big thing. And then the script finally came, and I was like, oh, it's kind of just like me. There's nothing really that. You're not really taking the piss out of me enough here. So Ben Edlund was the writer, and I sent him an email saying, can you just make me like the quintessential douchey Hollywood actor? And he was like, yeah, but then he didn't really, then the script came back and it really wasn't that, it still wasn't that douchey. So I made some choices just in the episode to like, I was like pushing the hairstylist away from me in one scene and ignoring the PAs, which anyone who's worked on this show knows that I actually do anyway. But I just I tried to up it a little bit and make myself more douchey. And my manager watched that episode and called me afterwards and was like, Misha, it's so cool just to be able to just to watch you just being yourself. Which was cool feedback. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello,
Hi.
old man.
I'm not old.
You're not? You look pretty old to me. You must.
Stop
You must be at least 30.
it! No!
How about 10?
No.
8?
No.
9?
No.
7?
No.
Come on. Are you 6 years old?
Yes.
What? I was gonna get it right eventually. Well, hello, young man.
What are you wanting to?
What are you allergic
What am I
to?
allergic to? That's a great question. Do you realize that no one has ever, I've done so many conventions, and no one has ever asked that question before?
Good job,
It
buddy.
seems like low-hanging fruit. It seems like the first question anyone should ask. What are you allergic to?
Nothing.
Really? So this is also not like your thing. That's cool. I don't know. Well, yeah, you have something. Yeah,
I
something.
just really wanted to know.
You did. Why did you want to know that question?
Why not?
Yeah. This guy's gonna wind up hosting a CNN show someday. I am not, as far as I know, I'm not allergic to anything. I used to think that I was immune to poison ivy, and so I would like pick bouquets of poison ivy. But then one day I got in a bike accident and rolled around in the field of poison ivy, and it turns out, yep, it can get me. And I used to get these things, and my hand would, when I was a kid, and my hand would like swell up really bad, and I got stuck by a bee in my throat when I drank a soda that had a bee in it. And I had to go to the hospital for that because it was hard to breathe. You want to get that?
What?
But that's about it. I don't think I'm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good question, though. Good job, bud.
Yeah. Great question. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, this is Misha. What was your favorite version of Cass since you did so many over the course of Supernatural?
My favorite Cass was Cass, just regular Cass. I liked playing the evolution of that character over time because it was really natural. I just, I don't know, it was an interesting experience as an actor to play a character for so long who starts in one place and evolves to another very different place. You know, when Cass first came on the scene, he had never been exposed to humans. And then he went through all of these life experiences that included being human and developing deep empathy and love for humans. And by the end of the series, he was a completely different character than he was when he started. And yet, as the actor who was playing him, I didn't have to constantly recalibrate. It was just this life experience that he was having was informing how the character changed. And I didn't have to make like calculating decisions on how to play that because it was just, this is just